You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Hey everybody, good evening. It's a wonderful Monday. I've got a small Band-Aid on the right side of my nose. Aurora said, "What's that, Daddy?" I said, "What?" She goes, "There's something red on the side of your nose." So what the hell? What do you mean? I went, I felt something there, so I gave it a scratch. All of a sudden, blood, and it wouldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. I said, what the hell was this? What the hell was this thing that it won't stop? Started feeling a little woozy. I lost about 3 quarts. That's how my night started. But it is 7:01 p.m. and we've got a great show tonight. I have a wonderful guest that's going to be with us to kick off, Thanksgiving season, Thanksgiving week. And I think you're really going to enjoy her. She has a story, a very intense story to talk about. It's one that she's currently living, and it is one that balances out grief with triumph and gratitude. You know, her husband has suffered a pretty traumatic brain injury in early 2024, and she's been chronicling the entire journey and rehabbing him and keeping her family together and supported and all that in a very public way. It's a very magnetic thing that she's doing, because you can tell that a lot of other people are in her situation. And I can't wait to introduce Megan to you. And she'll be on with us in just a few minutes. In the meantime, I have a couple other things I'd like to tell you real quick. First and foremost, we will talk about her in the second half of the show, but our beloved, beautiful Pyretta Blaze has passed on. She has died over the weekend, and she was not well for a long time, but she held on, and Anthony gave her the best care that anybody can give. I'm sure many of you out there have done the same for your pets, your non-human companions, and that cat was just a beautiful, beautiful addition to all of our lives from when Matt brought her to us in August 2013. Today, I got a great cat. You guys want her? Found her somewhere in Larchmont, New York, getting bullied out of food outside somewhere. So, well, we'll take her in. Of course, we didn't know that she was a she at that point. This is a picture of her looking at me as I would do my work. Where the hell is it? Hold on. Here, right here. This is at the old studio at my desk. I took a picture because sometimes she would just sit there and stare at me with these eyes like, what the hell? Sometimes she'd freak me out and say, what are you looking at? What's wrong with you? And at this point, we thought that she was a boy. We don't know how to check that stuff. So he's for old Frank. Did she have nuts? Do cats have nuts? I don't know. I don't know these things. So Matt thought she was a boy. And so we named her Ron Paul. And then we brought her to her first vet appointment. They said, "Oh, this is a Ron Paula." And I said, "What?" And they said, "Well, we can't do Ron Paula. That doesn't make sense." And then Pyretta Blaze, from one of our favorite Typo Negative songs, said that just sounds like a good one for her, Pyretta. It's a beautiful song. Maybe we'll play it during the flip side tonight. But I just wanted to just remember this little cat, and she just was wonderful. And I'm really going to miss her. I mean, she hasn't been at the studio for a couple of months now because she's essentially been like hospice care with Anthony. She needed extra attention, but I can't tell you what it was like coming here for 10 years and having her greet me at the door with her little grumbles and mumbles and her hoots and her tweets. And after a while, she couldn't even meow because she had some thyroid issues, so she would squeak. Still beautiful. And she'd be like just walking in and around my feet over here underneath my desk, putting her paws up on my armrest and just looking at me like, let me in your lap, rare. Like being in your lap now, rare. And so we'll talk about that later on. Just wanted to throw that out there. And yeah. Also, let's get a roll call. Wherever the hell you are in the country, you can put your city, you can put your state, you can put your country of origin, wherever the hell it is, roll call. Wherever you're watching it. If you're on Rumble or YouTube, doesn't matter where it is, and let everybody know where you're from. If you're on Rumble and YouTube, make sure that your notifications are on too, because that's a big part of us going forward. And just remember, if you're lurking, you're killing the channel. Not just mine, anybody that you enjoy. Make sure if you are watching somebody that you enjoy, you like what they do, you leave a little comment, and you get engaged. Because that is the only thing that matters now. So take it with me and anybody else you like. So, and we have a couple more minutes before Megan shows up, about 2 minutes. Oh, and one more thing. I think this is really cool. So I've been going through this really tedious thing over the last couple of months of deleting every copyrighted music hit that I could on the channel. I still have many episodes to go, but I have taken off at least a couple of thousand copyrighted songs, including all the intermissions and all the intro videos and stuff like that. And finally, because of all that, they have YouTube has allowed us to create memberships here. So now you can join the channel, and that is another option to sponsor the show. It's essentially just like Patreon, and I'm going to honor all the universal perks there, and I've essentially created a mishmash of a mailbag perk and a monthly video greeting perk there too. We already have one member, and it's Dragon Rider. So you're going to see somebody in the chat room. The first ever chat room badge is going to be there. And you're going to see it by seniority, how long a person has been a member. They'll have different badges. And here, take a look at the badges I've been putting together. So the new members are going to have the jester in front of the computer. And then we have 1 month is the old studio. 2 months is the new studio. After 6 months, it's Lila. After 1 year, it's the majestic Pyretta. After 2 years, it's Fat J. It's Fat J. Everybody, hold on. Everybody loves the Fat J thing, so I put Fat J in there. Then King is after 3 years. We've got Tony Black after 4. And this one right here, I don't know. I'm taking that one out because that was supposed to be the Franciscan. And now we have me and Matt, and hoping that, better things happen. I have to figure out, though, guys, what would 6, 7, and 8 be? Because at 9, it's me, Anthony, and Mike. And then finally, 10 years. If anybody becomes a member of this channel for 10 years, you will become a true Franciscan. But I've got a lot of things I'm gonna do with this channel, and all of them put together because we got to have some fun, and we will see. A lot of good stuff. Okay. So, getting into our wonderful guest of the evening, she is not too far behind. I think she's here. So let's just get into this, shall we? We shall. Okay, so I like doing a lot of things this time of year to really get into the human aspect of the season, the human aspect of all things. That's what we do. And since it's Thanksgiving week now officially, we find ourselves in the middle of the most emotionally charged time of the year. And it's a time that I search a little harder for reasons to be thankful. And I find really inspirational stories and things that we can talk about, just things to get us ready and charged up for the new year. And one of those stories, one of those people that I found is Megan Daubert. And Megan is a wife and mother of three whose husband suffered a traumatic brain injury in February of 2024. And she has since been documenting this arduous journey through recovery on social media. And it's just been, it's one of the, I'm really grateful for the stories I've been seeing, and I want her to come on the show. And I'm so glad she accepted. Megan, welcome to Quite Frankly.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on. Hold on, let me get this thing out of here. There you go. Well, it's great to have you on, and you're in Virginia, right?
Yes, Virginia Beach.
Oh, it's so nice to have somebody on the East Coast, and we can just stay in the same time zone and all that. So let me just start from the beginning. I'd love for you to tell us how you and your husband Michael met.
Sure. So Michael and I met. Well, actually, in junior high. We went to the same junior high school, and we started dating a few years later in high school. I was 15, he was 17, and we have been together ever since.
Wow.
So he was my first boyfriend, and he was a year older than me in school. So he went to college, and then he likes to say I followed him to the same college, but I earned my own way into that school. And we got married in 2007. So we've been married 18 years now. So
wow.
Long time.
That's that's a very rare story these days. Mm-hmm. That is very rare. That's anybody, well, we knew each other in grammar school or high school sweethearts or anything like that. That is very rare. So that just in itself, that's incredible. And three beautiful children, huh?
Yes, we have three kids. They are we're the odd age. No, we're even no, I'm so sorry. 14, 12. We just had birthdays. 14, 12, and almost 10. Oh,
what do you mean? We just had birthdays? They're all around the same time?
They're all, end of summer, going into school, and just keeping it constantly busy in our house.
So how is it? How is that? Because we have a cluster, my brother and my two cousins. Actually, we have a fourth, my daughter now too. From September 14th all the way through September 22nd, there's four cousins. And before my daughter was born, my brother and my two other cousins, they are in 3 successive days. And we always just, somebody's getting born. It felt like for a couple of years there, somebody was being born on the other person's birthday party. And so are they okay with it? Do they like it? Do they wish they had a little bit more space?
Mine are fine.
Okay.
They love to celebrate. So they do a really good job of sharing the spotlight or giving each other their space because they know their birthday's coming up next and they'll get the spotlight. So it works out in our household. That's good.
That's good. I think the harder thing is when you have a birthday fall on a major holiday.
Yes, I would not want that.
That's not a good one, So that's it. Well, there you have it. So high school sweethearts right up through college, and then now you have this wonderful big family living in Virginia. And then comes 2024, and things unexpectedly take a twist to very scary places. Tell us a little bit about that night in February.
Yeah. So I like to back up when I tell the story because our journey has been a lot of ups and downs. And 2023, so right before Mike's accident, had been a hard year, but by the end of it, things were looking up. Like Michael had taken on a second job that was very promising. It was finally in the field he'd been dreaming of getting into. We were like, okay, this is our year. We feel it. Like I just felt 2024 was going to be a breakthrough year for us. So we go through January of 2024. It's a great month. And then we enter February. And the morning of February 5th, I had a very distinct conversation in a coffee shop. I had met for coffee with two of my friends. We were planning the teacher appreciation week at our kids' school. And in walks one of Mike's best friends, Jay. And we look at each other and we'd been kind of parallel lives. And I said, hey, Jay, things are finally looking up. Like, I'm so encouraged about so many different parts of our life. Like, I just feel like it's this breath of fresh air. I'm so grateful for it. So that was the morning of February 5th. And then my goal has been an adult soccer league that he's played in Virginia Beach for the past 7, 8 years. That's his kind of outlet. They played on Monday nights in our local field house, and it was always late. It was like 9 p.m. games. So we sit down, we have dinner together, we watch a little bit of UVA basketball, and then he's like, all right, 8:15, time to go. So he gets up, kind of, kisses each one of us on the forehead. We say, bye, see ya. And out the door he goes. So I put the kids to bed. It's a really peaceful evening. And about 9 o'clock that night, lights are dim in my house, put the kids to bed. I know Mike's out playing soccer. I get this pounding on my front door, this really strong pounding that made my heart just like leap out of my chest. And I go and kind of like peer out the window to see who it is, and can't see anybody. And they pound again, and then they ring the doorbell. And at this point, I'm like, okay, we got to answer this. And I open the door, and it is my neighbor from across the street. And he is like panting. He's saying, Megan, something happened to Mike. He's down at the field house. They're performing CPR on him. You got to go. And I have no context for what happened. And neither did my neighbor. He's just the messenger. So I have this like moment of panic flare up in me. And then I feel it settle deep in my gut. And I just like go into fight or flight mode. And I'm like, okay. So, I got to run through my house and find my car keys, find my purse, put on some normal clothes because I was in pajamas at this point, and drive a car down to the field house, which was about 15-20 minutes away from our house. Yeah. And while I'm running through the house with no answers, just in this crazy mode, I finally get a call from someone at the field house saying, Mrs. Daubert, we want to make you aware of a situation. We're performing CPR on your husband, and he's not responding.
Oh,
that doesn't register with me at the time of what that means. And so, I make a trek down to the field house, and meanwhile, I'm in the car beginning to have room for a little bit of panic to set in. When I get there, which again, I was so confused, like, well, can't you just take him to the hospital and I'll meet you at the emergency room? But I did not know how bad things were. Lost in translation, I guess. So I pull up, and it's nighttime. There are fire trucks, ambulance, EMS vehicles, police officers. It is just this, when the flashing lights are all around you, it's a scene. Like it's traumatic to just drive past a scene like that when you're on the road. So to pull up and know that
it's for you.
Husband, yeah. It was very surreal. And I like pulled my car into a parking lot, didn't even bother to turn it off. And one of Mike's teammates that I did know came out and kind of intercepted me, and he held me and said, they got his pulse back. They got his pulse back, which is the first time I'd heard that. Now, remember, that's 20 minutes away. So I've been notified that something happened to him. I've had time to drive down there and get to the site. It turns out he was playing soccer, took himself out of the game, must have felt some pain. It's unclear what literally happened, but he took himself out, sat on the sidelines of the soccer field, and fell down. And it turned into a sudden cardiac arrest, which is a little different than a heart attack. So he's having a cardiac arrest on the side of the soccer field. And he was without oxygen for 24 minutes on the side of the soccer field, which is kind of unheard of in the medical world. We only need 3 minutes without oxygen for our brain to be damaged and for life to leave us.
No pulse. So no pulse for 24 minutes.
Yes, yes. And one of the gifts of that night was there was one teammate sitting on the sidelines, also with an injury, who was a former firefighter paramedic. And this man, Jimmy, knew when Mike fell down, he immediately grabbed his wrist and started taking his pulse. And there was a few minutes where he still had one. So Jimmy was like, okay, maybe this is just a seizure. And then it turned into he had no pulse and he was turning blue and they couldn't revive him. And they had to call for the in-house defibrillator, shock him. That didn't work. It was a very traumatic scene, and I wasn't even a part of it.
I can imagine, and trust me, I don't want you to have to relive the most traumatic, nightmarish parts of this, because of course now I have to imagine you get a diagnosis, a prognosis. How far they get him to the hospital? What do they offer up as a reason, and what is your chances for everything now?
Right. So no clear communication is given because everyone, paramedics, doctors, they're in just information gathering mode. I got to ride in the front of the ambulance, but I had to wait for 10 minutes because they had to intubate him before they drove. So he's getting on a ventilation system in the ambulance before we get to the emergency room. So once we get to the emergency room, he's whisked away, and then they bring me to this private sitting area that I now know is for some of the serious cases, because they don't want you out in the general waiting room because what you're going through is pretty bad. They wanted to give you some privacy. Nobody came to talk to us for a while. 20, maybe 25 minutes. One doctor came in and said, hey, he's having a massive heart attack. We're getting ready to take him upstairs and open him up. And that was a shock. And then she said, okay, I'll be right back, which that didn't actually happen. So I don't really know what came of that.
Wait,
what happened?
Really?
Yeah. No, they didn't. He wasn't having a massive heart attack, and they didn't take him to the operating table because there was nothing to be operated on.
Whoops. I mean, that's what the hell kind of a whoops is that?
Totally. But from there, just more and more question marks. He's on a ventilator. He's in a coma. He's unresponsive. His numbers are just terrible. Nobody is talking to me about what's the prognosis here? What's going on? It's just triage. And I had an army of people in the waiting room there for me. And so eventually the waiting and unknown was so lengthy that I said, you know what? I'd rather go be with those people than sit in here in this quiet room, because the night continued on with no answers and no response from Michael.
That's just so how I have to imagine he spent a good amount of time in ICU.
Yes.
So how long was that? How long was that?
He was transferred to cardiac ICU and was on a ventilator for 9 days. 9 days of unresponsive. Like we didn't get any good signs from him at that point.
So 9 days and he's now ICU. And of course, like you said there before, I'm sure anybody listening at home hears 24 minutes without a pulse or any kind of, cardiovascular activity there. I mean, you think about what's that doing to the brain every 15 seconds. What is that doing to the brain? So talk about the day that he opens his eyes and you get to reestablish some connection with him, and then just how recovery, what's the plan from there for recovery and rehab?
Yeah. So he took several days to get his fever under control as well. So his whole body is not regulating itself. We couldn't do a brain MRI until he was extubated. You can't be extubated until they're sure your lungs are going to breathe on their own. So everything kind of had to follow this domino pattern. So I'm getting doctors of all levels making their rounds and talking to me about, well, we don't know if he's going to need a heart transplant, or okay, now his heart's fine, but we don't know how his liver and his kidneys are doing, and we can't assess any brain activity until he can have a brain MRI. So one morning, actually it was Valentine's Day, February 14th, he was extubated by the new doctor that had come on to the cardiac ICU that morning and said, hey, we're going to do a trial of extubation. And it was successful. And Michael was apparently so much more comfortable now that he was extubated that he could finally open his eyes. And I have some videos that I've shared on our social media pages. And you can just see he looks more human and he looks with it. However, he was not. So from that point on, he got to have the brain MRI, which we saw that there was very microscopic brain damage, but the neurologist was quick to tell me that just because we can't see on the MRI does not mean that there is not damage. And that kind of is how it played out. Over the next month, we were in the first hospital. He could not talk. He could not walk. He was not eating. He showed no signs of recognition of me. Of course, his family was around, his family of origin, his parents and siblings were there, and he seemed to show a little bit more recognition of them. And as time went on, he seemed, at one point, he answered a question from a speech pathologist that he was 12 years old. And so I'm thinking like, okay, maybe if you don't recognize me or our kids, you sort of seem to recognize your parents. Maybe your brain is back to where it was when it was 12, which, as fascinating as that sounds, it's terrifying.
Absolutely.
To people and the kids to realize this is the level of damage we're talking about.
I was going to say the same. I was going to ask specifically about the kids, because I mean, as a wife and a soulmate of Michael's, and I mean, you're going back to when you're 15 years old and you've been together that whole time. That's one thing I can feel it. I mean, if this is something that happened with my wife or anything like that, it would be hell on earth. But when I think about your three kids, when you go to your father and there's that disconnect for even basic recognition, what was like that for them when they come out and they realize he's a visibly changed man?
Yeah. So I only let our oldest daughter visit him at the hospital, the first hospital, when he was awake. I chose to keep them from the ICU. For what I think are obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It was bad. So Carmen, our daughter, got to see him at his worst once he was awake, if that makes sense. The other two, they joined us in our long-term rehab facility, which is where we go next. But that general idea of the kids coming in and seeing their dad be remarkably different. I think it was a shock to their systems because the result of that has played out very slowly as time has gone on. They remained hopeful. They weren't as attuned to how severe of an injury this was. They just knew that dad was in the hospital and everyone in the world is praying for him right now. I don't think they were able to project what could actually be the reality here. So the answer to that question has played out in the last year at home behind closed doors as we've had hard conversations with one another. But they were definitely, they were scared. They were very scared.
So
Michael,
Sorry.
He was an incredible dad, very involved in their lives, and that he had great relationships with all three of them. Um, so I think just like me, his wife, looking at him and being like, wait a second, what just happened? Who is he? The kids had a lot of that going on too.
I saw a little bit about, I just recently, you had posted something about Christmas and the holidays.
Mhm.
And it's all the little things about a holidays. And this is why this time of year progressively for a lot of people gets harder and harder to really capture any level of magic you had in the past. Forget about, feeling like you did when you were a kid again. That's just part of growing up. But
Mhm.
but then, things like this, you really you don't put too much emphasis on when you think about putting up the tree at home and the
Mhm.
lights. You say, "Oh, it's Christmas time. We got to put up the tree and the lights and all that stuff." And it's easy to put all of the emphasis on the tree just being up and the lights being on, and not the fact that it is the process of dragging the tree up with dad and
Mhm.
taking it out and fluffing the branches, and it's just the whole thing going on. And when one person or when one element is taken away, it just feels like an incomplete puzzle. And I know that that's something you've been talking about, and I just wonder at what point, because I saw the video of your husband's 41st birthday,
Mhm.
and I just want to know here. I'm going to play it right now because I want to know about how this leap was made, because what you're describing right now is somebody who's really, debilitated. And here
Mhm.
we are. This is, let me get Megan up on the screen here. There we are. This is just what, a couple last week, right?
Yeah, last week.
All right, here we go.
Just can't be the man I need. Tell me you got something to give. I want it. I kinda like it when you call
Pipes. She's got the pipes.
me wonderful. Call me wonderful.
Wonderful.
No, call me wonderful.
Wonderful.
Right, thank you. I thought it would be really fun to do our own trending audio, but see if it goes viral. But actually, no, it's Michael's birthday today. Happy birthday, senor. He is 41. It's November 19th. So drop a happy birthday in the comments below. What are we doing today, senor? How are we going to celebrate you?
Shopping.
We're going to do a little shopping this morning. And then what do you have the rest of the day? Do you remember? Our favorite?
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jake Step.
Okay, yeah, well, right, yes. A good friend. And then we have...
He's got a great smile, got good energy. You guys are, I mean, I know what you guys came back from. So tell us about how you get to this point, and what there must have been really dark times, and still must be dark times, but how much more are you going to regain? Because it looks like he's really gone miles.
Yeah. And he has, to be fair, he had a long way to go. So he's been able to go miles. So the result of his time without oxygen led him to have an anoxic brain injury, which means lack of oxygen is what caused the brain injury. That's different than head trauma. And those types of patients heal on a different trajectory. Anoxic brain injury patients, it's a little less defined about their healing, and it's, you can't target a specific area of the brain and see progress. So we kind of just don't know. We don't know how much he can gain back. We don't know how much he'll get back. We don't know if he'll plateau, when he'll plateau. So the biggest deficits are his memory. Long-term and short-term memory deficits are huge. He has other cognitive deficits like his emotional awareness, his spatial awareness, his processing speed. They're all incredibly low. So he looks wonderful. He bounced back physically. He's heart healthy. He did get a defibrillator implanted in his side. So we deal with that regularly, but his heart is healthy. right? His physical body bounced back over a course of about 4 to 5 months, which is not that long.
No, not at
in
all.
the magnitude of what happened. But his brain injury recovery is the long ride here. And no one can give us an answer. So what you see in that video clip you just played of his birthday last week is very characteristic of our life now. He looks great. I can bring him out in public and he can hang, and you would never know until you get into a conversation with him. And he's actually, that's been an improvement this year in particular. He can converse much better. But he was a visionary. He was a dreamer. He was a huge planner. He was so intelligent. He could talk about any topic. He was a history major. He spoke Spanish. He was a deep well of knowledge. So he currently cannot access any of that anymore. He can't synthesize big ideas. He can read, but he doesn't really retain what he's reading. He can watch a movie, but he couldn't turn it off and then talk about the plot, or he'll remember specific things. He'll remember pillars in time, whether it's long-term or short-term, but he won't remember details. He's able to say now, oh yeah, I think I ate breakfast. And then he's like, did I have Cheerios? I can't remember, that's not normal, right? Like, we can recall what we ate the last meal.
How is he with your, recognizing family and friends now? Is that coming back?
Yes. Family, yes. And friends with repetition. So anybody who he sees regularly, he builds on that. But I am weekly reintroducing him to people. If he doesn't really know you outside of his close circle of friends, which is wild.
I want to go deeper into why this is such a triumph still too, because when you think about, of course, balancing that grief and the gratitude, I mean, having been so close to losing him, I heard you say that they had given you the probabilities of his surviving to be less than 5% at one point, which is and your religious faith has to be very strong throughout all this. That has to be that, and of course, family and friends. Can you talk a little bit about that part of your life?
Yeah. That's the only reason that I have been able to get up in the morning, truly, still, is my faith in the Lord. I know that he is right next to me. I described it yesterday to a friend who was asking about our life. And I said, the moment this happened in the hospital, it felt like the Lord just took me by the collar of my shirt and was like, you and me right here. I got you. We're going to do this together. And there's no way I could have done this without my hope in the Lord. And that practically played out through people, through our community, through our family, through our friends that we've invested in here, people just, volunteering to make meals for my kids, to do their laundry, to help them buy Valentine's at school when Valentine's week came about, because I didn't even remember that they needed Valentine's right when we were in the hospital, to people continuing to bring us meals and help me do my laundry, help me sort out my life when we got home, helping get my kids to baseball practice and to school because Michael can't drive anymore. So I'm single parenting from a practical standpoint while carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. And people have just come alongside us because I need them. I can't be independent right now. And I've done a good job of acknowledging that and exercising that muscle of, hey, I need help. And when I need help, I need to say something. It's not me being weak, asking for help. It's me being realistic and actually caring for my family in a loving way, waving that white flag of surrender, saying, hey, I can't do this week. I need someone to come alongside and help me. And people have. So that has been the last almost 2 years of our life. And I get tired every now and then, like, shouldn't I be able to do this on my own? Shouldn't I have gotten it together? Shouldn't I have had this figured out? But I haven't. And that's with the amount of support I've been given. So my heart hurts for people who either don't have faith in Jesus or who don't have people surrounding them to come and hold your hand through a scenario like this.
It's you're also really getting to the point of why the structure of the family is so important, and why people who have to go it alone for one reason or another, they are shouldering so much, and that if you can draw things up optimally, that you'll have those that head of the household, the man, the woman, and their children, and there's that, you it's okay to ask for help, and it just goes to show how much work it is. And of course, credit where credit's due. When some people who don't have the help, but know that the world has, you have to get up the next morning and go and try to find a way to get your family to survive. It's a lot of credit to people who make it happen.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned on your show there too, silver linings. You talk about that a lot. And in especially in memory loss, allowing for fresh rebuild and all that stuff. What's one small everyday way that you've seen that silver linings outlook play out in your family's routine with your husband?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it has really given me an opportunity to truly love Michael well with my actions and my words. And I have been able to, when everything else is stripped away, what's left is just my love for him. And it's been tested this last year. So I'm very much in the thick of it still, but every day I get to practice the choice and the commitment I made to Michael 18 years ago. Like, hey, I'm going to stick it out with you. I know we said for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for sickness and health, like joyfully at the altar, but oh crap, this is what that meant.
Yeah.
And I committed to it. So that has been very character building for me. I haven't seen this in my children yet, but I know that they are observing every day. And I know that this will form in them people of very strong character as well. They're absorbing a lot. They're taking a lot in. They're watching a lot with mom and dad, and they've got big questions. But I believe that because of the journey they're going through, they're going to be much more well-rounded individuals who have a lot of empathy for people in life. And you can't force someone to be empathetic. Like you've got to experience what that is. And I think in the long run, this will be a gift to my children. And yeah, on a very practical note, we're forced to slow down. And I am not a slow moving person, but with Mike's brain injury, life moves a lot slower, and we have to be okay with that. And we've had to learn our expectations. They got to come down a few notches.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your family and community involvement already quite a bit, of course, in conjunction with your faith. But I got to just say, the comment sections of your videos, they are filled with people who are in your shoes or have been or still are in Michael's shoes. Like there are people who have suffered their own injuries, or they're caring for somebody, they're assisting somebody in their recovery to varying degrees, and it's you bring a lot of people comfort in talking about this. How has the podcast and the Instagram interaction helped you as well?
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for drawing attention to that, because that's been an unexpected side effect of sharing publicly. I in my podcast, I go into why I've chosen to share via podcast platform, and you can go and listen to that if you're interested. But getting to share it publicly has, I think a lot of us in grief or going through a hard time, maybe it's not trauma or medical trauma, maybe it's just a hard time for another reason, but we don't always have a model of how to do that. We don't have a model of how to grieve. We don't have a model of how to ask for help. We don't have a model of how to talk about it or how to acknowledge what we're going through without having a solution. And so I think I've been really surprised at some of the people who have commented and messaged me offline and said, hey, I never considered this to be my own grief. I never considered that I could talk to somebody in counseling about this. I never considered to elevate my needs in this way. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, you do. Like, please, like, be validated in this. Your pain that you've experienced as a caretaker, those of you who are in my shoes, like, yes, like you matter too. And things have happened to you that need attention. And just, I mean, I will happily use my experience to lead others along, like, come with me in this journey. And I think that's really rewarding. I don't love to wallow in sorrow, but like I think there's a way to do it pointing towards hope. And I hope that that's what's coming across in the platforms that I've been given.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the main reason why I wanted to offer up my platform for you to tell your story, just because there's just there's so many people going through so many different types of things, and taking care of other people for a number of reasons, whether it be, injury or other some kind of a something holding them back. But there are a lot of caretakers out there, people who are, you don't want to say they're putting their life on hold. You're not. Life doesn't get put on hold. Your path gets altered, and you go, and duty calls,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a duty bound life, and I mean, what greater duty do we have than family? And
Mm-hmm.
So that's just it. Absolutely. I wanted to have you on for that, that very important thing. So what would you say to people this time of year who things might have changed for them in the way that things had changed for you, and that you're now progressing on a different path, and that you have this hope, you have a plan that you're building toward, you're praying for more assistance and strength from God. But again, like we opened up with, this is a time of year that is hard for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And how are you approaching this? And what message would you send to anybody in the audience who's going through, the ups and downs like we all do, but is dreading the holidays for one reason or another?
Yeah. And I say this coming from a place of still being in the middle of it. Like, I haven't got it figured out yet. I'm still very much, I'm just going to share with you what I am currently practicing myself. I am learning to acknowledge the sadness, acknowledge that painful memory, whether it's you mentioned setting up a Christmas tree. That was Mike's job in my family. He set up the Christmas tree. He hung the Christmas lights outside. So when we drive up to our house and the neighbors have their Christmas lights hung, and my kids say, when are we putting ours up, Mom? Like, I get sad, because now it reminds me of my husband can't do that anymore. Or he one day again might, but this year he can't because of this sad scenario. So little things like that. When you have those moments of sadness, they need to come out. You need to acknowledge them. Maybe it takes you 30 seconds. Maybe it's a 30-second cry, or just you write it down. But learning to not store them in our physical body, like that book, The Body Keeps a Score, is genius. And we don't want the health effects of stuffing down stress, trauma, and sadness. So to take those moments and to turn towards them, to recognize the before versus the current. Like there's a very marked before and after in the Daubert family life. And that is a sad moment to say, hey, those old memories, those old times, I loved them and I didn't want them to leave, but they did. And that is sad. Or maybe you're dealing with the loss of a parent this holiday season, and it's the first time you're going to have Thanksgiving and Christmas without your mom or your dad or a sibling. Like honor them, honor yourself in that moment, and be like, this is painful. I don't like this change. I don't like it at all. But there is still hope, and there's still a reason to get up in the morning. Acknowledging that sadness allows us to give it a place and not brush it under the rug. And I mean, I believe all of this is not for nothing. Like every little interaction matters. Every thought, every encounter you have matters, and there is hope. Like it will get better. You will not stay in this deep place of sorrow forever. You will come out of it. Can't tell you when, can't tell us how long, but your life is worth hanging on to the hope. And I love the phrase from Catherine Wolfe where she says, we're going to have a joyful rebellion against the darkness. And if I can joyfully rebel against the darkness, in which in case my darkness is, missing my husband, the sad, the memory loss, everything that we have lost, that's my darkness. I'm going to fight against that in a joyful rebellion. And I'm going to try to make new memories. Maybe I need to put my Christmas tree in a different spot this year, so it's markedly different. Maybe we do a different tradition. We don't have the same meal. Maybe we do something different to acknowledge that things are changed now. But very, very, very practical, small things. But it takes a while to walk through grief and pain, and but you got to walk through it.
Yes. And Megan, you and Michael are very lucky to have each other, and he's especially lucky to have a ride or die woman like you. And I mean, I have your website in the description of the episode, megandaubert.com. It's up right here. And I would really suggest, I mean, they're right up there at the top right-hand corner is your Instagram. That's where I found your story, your podcast, and all of these wonderful updates along the way. And like I said, your work has just been so, it's been a huge net positive on everybody that's been exposed to it. And I wanted to have you on, and I hope you had a good time with me. And I would love to check in with you from time to time, and I wish nothing but the best and continued recovery to your husband. And yeah, that's all I have for you tonight. And I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to just get to share. And thank you for being curious and for recognizing what it is that we're going through. I just appreciate this time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And so do you update regularly? Do you stream it live, or do you pre-record it? What's your your schedule if you have one?
Yeah, I have been releasing episodes every Tuesday for the last 8 months. And I'm going to take a little break for the holidays, but I'll be right back in the new year. So we're
Wonderful.
doing weekly podcasts.
Okay. Oh, I hope a lot of people reach out to you and watch the show and interact. And thank you again for everything. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family.
You as well. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. There is Megan Daubert. And that's That was her first time on a live talk show. I know it's not a hard news Monday, but I really wanted to speak with her before Thanksgiving. And that's real life. That's real life stuff right there. Maybe we talk a little bit in about a half hour or so. I'd like to take your calls and see what's going on in the chat room. Maybe we talk a little bit about, I have some news here that we can sift through and make some comments. On Saturday night, we talked a little bit about, we talked a lot. Sherry and I spoke a lot about Candace Owens and the French Connection. So we can do that. But you know what this really means? It's these stories that bring you back to that old saying about how when you have your health, you got 10,000 problems. And when you are in bad health, you have one problem. I can't imagine that Meghan and their family were too obsessed about all the election headlines in 2024 with everything that they are going through as a family. As deeply impactful as something like that is on a macro scale, everyday life is in your living room. That's everyday life. And that's what I wanted to bring up tonight. And I hope that it hit some markers with you guys. If there's anything you want to bring up, please call into the show. It'd be wonderful to have you call. It's 914-200-0269. I'm going to put that up on the screen. And you guys just hop in whenever the hell you want. That's what I say. All right? And let's see here. Thank you, Jeannie Yankee fan. Just dropped a little tip into the Twitch to say hello. Other than that, everybody's just doing their thing. I know it's a new week, but it actually felt like the week never ended. I had the Friday night show, which is fantastic. That's Toby Wright. That'll be replayed this Friday night because the Saturday night show, whereas I might put it on Rumble and X, it's certainly not a YouTube show. Certainly not a YouTube show. But you got to go check that out. I'll put the link in the chat room sometime soon. Jay Semo says prayers for them. She's a strong person. God bless her. And Grandma Grateful says, FYI, just saved a bunch of Cultivate Elevate. Use the BF code. The BF code? What's the BF code? Saved like $50. What's the BF code? I don't know what that means, Grandma Grateful, but I'm glad that you saved all that money on some great stuff. Matt from Cultivate Elevate will love it. All right, Amethyst Cat just wrote something in as the lines are open. Let's see here. When I first started watching you, I knew you were a good person because you had a studio cat. She will be missed. Yeah, the studio cat. Oh, she was such a great studio cat. Just a great, great cat. Anybody that came in here was greeted enthusiastically by Pyretta. Never, ever was there ever. She was never scratch you, never anything like that. You can pick her up like a raccoon. Pick her up, twist her around, and she just let you just do whatever. She was so patient with Aurora. Aurora got to spend so much good time with her, crawling around on the ground and all that stuff. I have some other thing here. I got some more over here. Here, I'll give you the story about this. Here's this story. You say, why the hell is that around her neck, Frank? First of all, it is very lightly wrapped around her neck. She's a little confused. But what happened there was she kind of nibbled Mike's hand. I think she tried to just very lightly graze Mike's hand. He put his he was just like digging into her chest a little bit and scratching her, and she just went like that. And so he had this piece of paper towel, and he loosely put it around her like a scarf, and that was her punishment. He said, "That's your punishment. You get the scarf." I think he called her the French whore. I don't know. That's the French whore scarf or something like that. I don't even know that she's not French. She's just a tabby, but she looked like she was sorry for what she did, as you can see. She that was the scarf of shame for nibbling Mike's arm. 504, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. Let me try to lighten up the mood some, because that her story was awful. But anyway, I digress. A couple of months ago, you said, what restaurants or whatever that have gone away that aren't around anymore? And I remember in San Francisco, mid-60s, there was this restaurant called Sambo's. And Sambo's had this big sign. I'm not going to say what, I'm not going to say what it was, but he was a black guy, okay? And anyway, Sambo's is gone. And I'm really disgusted, bro. You hear me?
Didn't you call in about this months ago? Or somebody did. Somebody called in about this months ago. Things that were around that not there anymore, and that it was like their all their marketing was accused of being racist or something.
That wasn't me, but it was somebody that looked like me.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm so sorry for your loss, my friend, and thank you for the call.
All right. Bye-bye.
There you go. Okay. Well, the mood has been lightened completely. 914-200-0269. Call in with some of that. Oh, and you know what? I'm trying something out tonight. I just put it on. We're going to be doing this in little spurts here. I've got little segments that I'll put this on. I'm going to try it for the first time right now. Right now, I have activated my alerts box. And people who send a super chat to specifically quitefranklysuperchat.com, I think super chats $10 and over are just going to pop up and be read aloud immediately, which of course is going to add a delightful level of chaos to this show. Which is why I said it will only be used at certain times, because I can't be in the middle of a very serious interview and have somebody text, "I want to slap your butt cheeks," and it shows up on screen, which I'll give you an example of that the other night. When we were live on the show on Saturday night. Here it is. This is from Jay Britz. Like I said, I think that it triggers for $10 and over on quitefranklysuperchat.com. Here it goes.
I want to slap your butt cheeks.
And that just shows up, and I'm going to have to deal with it. It's an acceptable level of chaos because I can turn it on and off whenever I want. So, new year, new things to do, and we'll see how, so Frank, that could be dangerous. I know, and that's why we're just going to roll with it. And away we go. Jay Britz again says, "Hey, incredible story. Makes you appreciate the little problems and the blessings in life. It could always be so much worse. Thank you for the introduction." Absolutely. And listen, the whole point, and I'm sure you all know this, was to highlight again the perspective, and from a person who is in the middle of this. And of course, if Megan had not brought this to public forums and had created a really, really well subscribed to vlog along the way that has attracted a lot of people for a lot of reasons. This is it. It's perspective. It is collective, prayer. A lot of people feel grief, and for a lot of different ways around now. But it's what how do you plow through that, and how do you work with it, and what are those silver linings? How many people do you meet along the way? And that's it. How do you live a fulfilling, purpose-driven life? And you always keep the hope open. So I hope it reaches the right person tonight. That's all I wanted. All right. Let's see here. Vesper says, "Your guest put so much in perspective." Thank you, Vesper. I'm glad that you saw that in that way. Dub Helix says, sad day. Rest in peace, Pyretta. Indeed. I hope she's in peace. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, I am going to, we're going to jump through a whole bunch of hoops together. I want to see what the hell's going on in some of the news. We're going to get into the latest on the Candace Owens things because I want to see what you guys think about that. Tomorrow night's show is going to be really incredible. Anthony's going to be in studio along with our friend Alberto. Alberto is from Italy, but he lives here in the United States, and he is a giant of a man who does Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm sure. I think Anthony's actually working out with him tonight. It's the first time Anthony's doing any kind of rolling or whatever. So they're going to both be in here tomorrow night, and Alberto's into all types of good stuff. UFOs, conspiracy, reads the news just like we do. It's going to be a good night tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll have something to say about the French assassin theory and who the hell knows what else. But that'll be a good one. And then on Wednesday night, we got Jay Gulanello in the studio because it's an eve. It's a holiday eve. So what are we going to do without... we got to have Jay in. We'll be right back, everyone. Get ready for the second half of the show. No.
Welcome to Intermission.
Yeah, intermission. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Let's see here. Jeannie says Megan's story is very courageous, and thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Glad you liked it. What else do I have? I have a little bit of news here. A little bit of news for this evening. And we'll probably be getting off a little bit early tonight. But I have this. This is just incredible right now. A woman found alive in a coffin after being brought in for cremation. Happy Thanksgiving. But of course, this didn't happen in the United States. We're not too far away from that, by the way. We're slipping that. The standards are slipping that far. It might happen here soon. In Thailand, though, where I always just believe things like this happen regularly, a woman shocked temple staff when she started moving in her coffin after being brought in for cremation. Whoops. Wat Rat Prakhong Tham, a Buddhist temple in the province of Nonthaburi on the outskirts of Bangkok, posted a video on its Facebook page. They just got Facebook. Showing a woman lying in a white coffin in the back of a pickup truck, slightly moving her arms and head, leaving temple staff bewildered. Good Lord. I was a bit surprised, so I asked them to open the coffin, and everyone was startled. Said that they heard a knocking. They heard a knocking inside of this thing. I saw her open her eyes slightly and knocking on the side of the coffin. She must have been knocking for quite some time. This is what Edgar Allan Poe feared the most. You know why? That's why. Let's take a call. Gene, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you, Gene?
Hi, Frank.
It's good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Positive mode on injuries and life going on after them. My son went through an aneurysm a few years back. A stunning man, bipolar, screwed up, extremely intelligent. One of those kind of people you would say they were on the edge because of their intelligence. Wonderful man, though. Oliver's a wonderful man. He had an aneurysm and came out of it and had 2 more kids and went on with life. Stunning things can happen after terrible things happen in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want people to know that it does exist. That, it takes time and it's wonderful. And heck, you know what the cool thing is?
What?
I think he found God.
I'm
I'm a Catholic, so I'm really damn happy.
I'm happy that is that's a great message to bring, because especially even in Megan's situation, that's February 2024. That's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, and
not at all.
Not at all. And I always praying for the best for everybody. And that's just some scary.
And God gives the crosses, and heck, if people, she has her crosses, and how us Catholics think that you carry your crosses and then you can rock it. It can be good, and I just wanted you to know that I appreciate her and what she's going through, and I'll keep her in my prayers. And I love you guys.
Well, thank you, Gene. Have a good one. And
you too.
Before the show, I just reached out to Dr. Chris from the Nerve Health Institute, and I'm gonna see if any connections could be made there. If there's anything just to add into the mix, especially since everything he does is so non-invasive. Maybe there's who knows, especially when it comes to just stimulating brain matter. But oh man, that's why every time I leave the house, I just always say a prayer, whatever it is. Awakened Boomer says, "Hey Frank, Megan and Mike's story is amazing, and the condolences on Pyretta's passing. We know she was loved. She was very well loved over here. Anthony and her were very, very closely attached and bonded. So she was a studio cat that slowly just became Anthony's domain, and that's where she was supposed to be." And she got great care right to the end. Incredible, though. Let me see here. Another one. Okay, let's get into this a little bit. Now, this is the whole... You let me know about this, what you think. Because like everybody else right now in this crazy, used to be new media landscape, there is just a whole lot of warring going on. And when I go into the comments of a Candace Owens tweet or a Tucker Carlson video, or I see a highlight or somebody talking about something that Nick Fuentes said somewhere, whatever the hell it is, and even branching out from there to go to other places, you just don't know. It just seems like everybody, there's the lunch tables that have formed and are opposed to each other, that have loose alliances to other lunch tables. This is getting more dicey than an Italian wedding. More dicey than an Italian wedding. Who put together the seating chart and who's not going to be spoken to for 25 years? I don't know. And I guess maybe I got to start digging a little bit more and forming my own opinions, because everybody else seems to be very, very settled on this shit. Very settled. on who is a plant and who is working for whom and who's married to a Mossad agent, who's married to MI6, this and that. But this French connection, and I'll talk about this, and then I'm going to get right into that YouTube chat room poll that I put up. Guys, take a look at it. It's up right now in the chat poll. I want to see what you guys think about it in particular. So on Saturday night, when Sherry and I were together, we read this post together. She said, you got to check it out. My cousin was giving me the update. We were just talking loosely about everything. Israel, America first, whatever the hell it does, it came up. It's a great episode. You should really take a listen to it. But here we go. Urgent. This is from Candace Owens' official Twitter, which I am now following because I just want to stay on top of what the hell's happening. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high-ranking employee of the French government after determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple. That's, of course, Emmanuel and Brigitte, or everybody calls Brigitte. But you know me and the French. I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. You say, what? Why? The first question is why? This is all because of the penis gate? This is all because of the accusation about being a transvestite or an a state-sanctioned assassination because of what at the very worst would be slander? Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, the green light was given to a small team in National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I'm told there is one Israeli that is on this assassination squad, and the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. No proof was given to us, but who the hell knows? Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussard's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I asked that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who the American in the American government can be trusted, since this source claims our leaders are aware. But I have more specific information, which is definitively verifiable should they care to reach out to me. They being the American government? Why would you ever trust them? To the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their own life, may God bless you truly. Let all be revealed. Now, what do you guys think about this? I'll put the number back up on screen. Because Saturday night, like I said, we went through all the France stuff that was available at the time, and you should watch that. I'll actually put that in the description. I can put that in the description right now. I'll put it into the chat rooms right now. Take a look at it. You can bookmark that and watch it later. Seriously, it's all we really talked about. It just went all over the place. But we got this OG tweet, and then there's this. This is from Project Veritas today. Of course, Project Veritas already had its detractors when James O'Keefe was still with them. And now that it's Project Veritas minus James O'Keefe, I don't know how much you put on this, but take a look at this one. Project Veritas, 8 hours ago. Real Candace Owens has been a target of government for years. We need to this is the quote from here. Mary Barr Daley, former senior DOJ official, daughter of a former AG, Bill Barr. Here's texts between Mary Barr Daley and somebody else. Hi, I need you to start working on the redacted and Candace Owens case. And then a question mark. Armstrong will give you the commands, but we need to focus on Black and Redacted first. Work with Armstrong on this. Send some underage girl to secure him. He's an easy target. So, listen, the language used here is crazy. It's just about Tyler Robinson transcript crazy. I mean, first of all, if this is not a joke, then, I mean, maybe the statute of limitations is up. No, September 2021, you can definitely put somebody in jail still for saying, seriously, to procure an underage girl in order to blackmail somebody, which means that the girl is going to have to be groomed in some way to know how to carry out an operation to completion. The harder one is Candace because she's very resistant. Gather the group to come up with a good strategy, but don't waste time. For Redacted, it would be good to have something we could use to put him in jail. Like, I don't get this. Have you been working, and here's a little, like a follow-up on September 15, 2021 and more. Have you been working on the issue with Candace Owens? We need to blackmail her faster. Klasick has been very affected. Tell Armstrong to send the photographer to follow her and also follow her husband. I mean, AW want to know if they need to focus on Candace or Redacted. Candace first, says Mary Bardaly. I'm so angry at her that I can't stop thinking if the things she says about Klasick are taken seriously, they will investigate the use of the money in the election campaign. We have to bring out material to destroy her reputation before she gets to us. Do you believe that this is a real transcript? I don't know, man. I mean, I know that they're like really, the people in government are not very smart. They're not the brightest bulbs in the batch, but that's just really stupid. That just feels really fucking stupid. But this is an official release from Project Veritas 8 hours ago. A couple other people are asking here too. Here's somebody, DMW says, send some underage girl to secure him. Can we charge this guy with conspiracy of human trafficking and blackmail? I don't know. Who's the blue in this? Is it, oh yeah, Mary Bardaly. That's the one that said we need to blackmail Candace faster. We need to blackmail them faster. Do the crime immediately in a text message. Who talks like this, says somebody. We need to blackmail her faster. DOJ officials would never talk like this over text. Let's see what somebody said there. Private, sure. Public, hell no. Have you ever met a government worker? So it's like, okay, so then, I don't know. If you believe this, how does it affect your belief on Tyler Robinson? Just as a matter across the board, because it seems like the same kind of mindset, the same kind of sloppy, detail-soaked mindset. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I mean, one way or another, you don't have to. That's not a bridge too far. It's not like you have to go too far to sell me that Candace Owens is going to, people like her are being watched constantly, and that they have friends and tons of enemies, and that there aren't tons of people who love to bring them down. There is such a division right now. It's really incredible to see it all happening, but that's nuts. And like I said on Saturday night here too, as the lines are open, give me a call. As I said Saturday night, I don't doubt that there are supranational powers in the world. We talk about them all the time, that don't see nations and their governments as sovereign entities, that they're more like regional economic and military provinces and outposts for a much bigger, governing body, albeit a clandestine, occulted one. So, I mean, for example, that's what Nine Eyes is all about. That's what Five Eyes is all about. You know, most Western nations have some semblance of privacy laws that don't allow governments to just openly and wantonly collect all types of data on their citizens, just listen to them and spy on them. Just not like on the books. There's always some kind of either a loose predicate for it, or they ask their trusted allies to spy on their citizens for them, and will spy on their citizens for whoever the hell else. And that's it. And then every once in a while you get a little scandal about the United States getting caught spying on Germany, or somebody spying on us and all that shit. And you know, we all like gasp and all that stuff. But really, it was probably like Germany asking, hey, can you spy on this city for us for a little bit? Tell us what you find. Hopefully nobody catches us. I don't know. So that whole idea, if is there a situation where the French assets are being called up for some wet works operation and they're going to take somebody out, it wouldn't sound crazy. But I'm just going to, I mean, this is very sensational, and a lot of people, this is just like, you know, what's big in the internet? What big internet news right now? The only semi-major outlet that I've seen pick this up was the Jerusalem Post. Nobody else is really talking about it. It's really just an online food fight kind of a thing right now. But I wonder which portion of the federal government could possibly be trusted enough to handle this information if it's true, when I'd have to believe that Candace is in some way certain that whoever you're going to be handing this over to was in some way involved with what happened to Charlie. So that leaves me wondering about a whole bunch of shit. And perhaps we'll pick that up again tomorrow when we have some people in the studio, and away we go. So that's that. That's all I have for you. And tomorrow we try it all over again. So a little bit of a short show tonight, but I'm hoping that you enjoyed it. And thank you again to Megan Daubert for coming on and telling her story and setting the tone for this month. So I'm going to be heading on over to the flip side now, and I hope you guys join me as well. So with that, I will see you tomorrow, and have a just fabulous night. Good evening. Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let me see here. Nope. We're all good. I'll catch you on the flip, everybody. Have a wonderful night. That's not it.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes. Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience. And now, our wonderful super chatters. Thank you, The Sentinel and Vesper and Dub Helix and Amethyst Cat. Thank you to our good friends over on Rumble. We have Awakened Boomer and Jay Semo and Grandma Grateful and Genie Yankee Fan, Jay Britz. It's good to have you guys over there on Twitch. Remember, you can now join the Quite Frankly YouTube as a sponsor through there. And there's a whole lot of great perks there. You can check it out. I have the Nugget and the Jester that you can join, and you're going to get a whole lot of members-only stuff. All the stuff I put on Patreon and stuff, I'll just start mirroring on members-only posts on YouTube. We'll have members-only streams from time to time. I might even migrate all of my gaming activity to members-only on YouTube. You just never know. Anyway, I'll catch you on the flip. Thank you guys for everything.